If you're a dog lover, you'll know they can be a really, really great companion. Hell, I think I've been replaced at home because my dad spoils Toby so much that I didn't bother going back. They're really, really great company. And to some people, they're so much more. You're going to hear about Bobby, a fully trained autism assistance dog who's making a real difference in the life of 7-year-old Jack Shaw in Portarlington. Jack's mum, Edel, is with us. Edel, good morning.
Good morning, Will. Thanks very much for having me on.
Not at all a pleasure. When did Bobby come along?
We've had Bobby now for just over a month. He arrived in Portarlington just at the beginning of November.
And what breed is he?
Well, he's actually a rescue dog, so he's predominantly Labrador, but there's a little bit of something else that we're not too sure.
He's a Bitsa then?
He is.
A bit of this and a bit of that.
Absolutely.
And what age do you reckon he is?
Well, we think he's in and around the 15-month age. He's still quite puppyish in some of his behaviours when he's not working. So we reckon by the look of him that he's somewhere in around 15 or 16 months old.
Right, so there's still enough divilment in him that you reckon he's young enough.
Absolutely.
And young enough to learn new tricks, evidently.
Yeah, he was rescued from a shelter in Cork just at the beginning of the summer by a charity called Autism Assistance Dogs Ireland. And over the summer, for a period of about 4 or 5 months, he underwent intensive training to become an assistance dog, and he's just superb. He is absolutely so good when he's working. It is just unbelievable.
And how does it work? Because we're familiar with guide dogs and we see how they assist people who are visually impaired, but to me anyway, I've never heard of dogs being used to help people with autism.
Well, what happens, or the way that it actually works, is a lot of children with autism have no sense of danger. So they have a tendency to bolt or abscond or to, me and you, run away. And if they're out and about in social situations or in the street, they just don't see road dangers or anything like that. So what you end up doing is either wearing a harness on the child or not bringing them out at all because it's just so dangerous. So they're almost like a toddler. They have that toddler instinct where they just don't see danger, but this is as an older child. So what happens with the assistance dog is they have been trained quite similar to guide dogs, in that they stop at curbs, they look out for dangers, they look out for traffic, they watch for pedestrian crossings. So when we got Bobby, what happens with Jack is he wears a little belt around his waist that's attached to Bobby's coat, and once Bobby has the coat on, he knows he's working. And it means that we can walk down the street with Jack holding Bobby's handle and with us actually physically having to restrain Jack ourselves. So the dog senses if the child starts to get agitated or starts to get upset, but also as well as that watches out for dangers such as traffic and curbs and roadways.
Isn't that remarkable?
It's phenomenal to see now. As I say, we only have him a month, and we'd heard about it. We'd heard about the programme, and Jack is an absolute dog lover. So we knew that a dog in the house would be a massive hit.
But I would suspect that until Bobby arrived, if you were bringing Jack somewhere, you would be on tenterhooks, watching to make sure he didn't dart one direction or another.
Absolutely.
Do you relax a bit more now?
Well, for the first time ever, as I said, in his 7 years, Jack's 7 years old now, I was able to walk the other day down the street in Portarlington with Jack on one side of the dog and me on the other holding the dog's lead, and not physically holding Jack at all for the first time in 7 years.
But were you relaxed, or were you still
absolutely,
kind of
because
anxious?
I knew Bobby was there, and Jack was very relaxed holding Bobby's handle, and if he let go of the handle or if he went to pull away, we could stop him and say, no, you have to hold Bobby's handle, and he quite happily reattached, held onto the handle and carried on walking. It's just phenomenal to see. I honestly can't explain it. I'm probably not doing it justice at all.
You are, but I can hear how happy it has made you, and it must be respite is maybe not the word, but it's a chance to breathe a little bit easier.
Absolutely. You know, there was a lot of occasions where it was just easier not to bring Jack because if you were trying to do shopping or anything like that, he wouldn't stand with you at the trolley, or you had to hold on like really tightly to him because he would be gone out the door of the shop. So we're now going to be building up. We haven't successfully done it yet because it's a slow progress with Jack, but we're slowly going to be able to build up to be able to bring Jack into a shop, go and buy something with him attached to Bobby, and be able to, come back out again without him having bolted out the door on us.
How will that work, though, in some premises where they may have a no dogs policy, or they may not understand why Bobby is with Jack?
Well, because there is an assistance dog, they actually have similar guidance or similar clearances to guide dogs. So we can bring him into shops, to restaurants, to the cinema. We actually had him in the cinema in Portarlington with us at the weekend, into anywhere that the child would go. And we have a little ID card that tells them that Bobby is not just a pet. Bobby's actually a working dog.
And what movie was it?
Say that again, sorry?
What movie were you watching?
We went to see Despicable Me.
And did Bobby sit there quite relaxed and content watching the movie?
Yeah, he sat on the steps. There was lots of other children around, and they were all very keen to see the dog in the cinema. So he lay on the step, quite happy with his coat on, so he knew he was working. And Jack was delighted to have Bobby in the cinema with him.
And Bobby was enjoying the attention, obviously.
He did. He lay up and he let them rub him and pet him and all the rest of it, so he was quite happy too.
So he obviously has a lovely, mild manner, the dog.
Very, very calm and very, very relaxed. At the moment, he's curled up in a ball here just at my feet. So he has a lovely temperament. Jack actually plays quite rough with him when he doesn't have his coat on. Jack would like to give people cuddles and tight squeezes. So we knew when we were getting the dog that the dog was going to be squeezed and be hugged as well. And Bobby, fair play to him, is an absolute gem. Will stand there and let Jack give him a hug and a kiss, and doesn't react at all. Well, bar licking his face to say thank you, of course. But he's just an absolute dote of a dog, I have to say.
So you're getting a sense that there's a real bond forming between the two of them.
Absolutely, and that of course will grow over time as well. As I say, he's only in the house a month at this stage, so it does take a little time for the attachment and the bond to form. But already we can see that Bobby realises that he's Jack's dog. So when Jack goes to move, or Jack puts his coat on and the belt on, Bobby is up beside him for looking for the attention and knowing that work's going to happen now. I'm going to go to work now. But when the coat is off, he's just like a family pet. I have a younger son, a 4.5-year-old, and he's having great delight out of him as well, especially in the snow. So they've been out running around the snow, and he can throw balls, and Bobby goes and chases them. So when he's not working, he's effectively the family pet, which is great as well.
Edel, a few people are wondering how you managed to locate Bobby and whether such a scheme is available for other children with autism.
Absolutely. This charity is a new charity that was formed earlier in the year. They're based in Mallow in Cork, and they have a website, autismassistancedogsireland.ie. They're also on Facebook as well, and it's quite a simple process. You just make contact with them and put your child's name forward, and what happens then is there is a little bit of a waiting list at the moment because the demand is quite huge, as you can imagine.
Indeed.
The charity hoped to train 20 dogs a year, so 20 children a year will get a new assistance dog from this charity. And they come out and meet the family. So they met Dermot, my husband, and myself, Jack and Usheen, our other son, and they had a look at our house and our garden, and we spoke to them about what Jack's needs were. So they actually matched Bobby to Jack's needs. So they specifically pick the dog that best matches the child that they're placing it with. The dogs are actually provided free of charge to the families, but they cost in and around €15,000 to train per dog.
Wow.
Yeah. Now the charity is it receives no funding, no government funding, no sponsorship or anything like that. So it relies totally on voluntary contributions. So the rate limiting fact is the money, of course. So the charity really needs sponsorship and funding in order to be able to deliver the 20 dogs. But if you make contact with them, any child can go on the list, irrespective of the age. They will also consider you even if you have another dog in the house. So if there's a pet dog already in existence, they still will consider placing a guide dog there, or an assistance dog there. But they will just come and assess the situation.
Yeah, to make sure you don't have a big aggressive Doberman or something.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Do they have a website, Edel?
They do, yeah. So it's autism, www.autismassistancedogsireland. AADI is the abbreviation, so you'll find it by typing in AADI into google.ie.
Great stuff. Edel, send us a picture of Bobby, will you?
Oh, I will. Absolutely, I'll put him on a picture on Facebook. If anybody would like to meet him, actually, we have a bucket collection scheduled for Portarlington on the 18th of December. So Bobby will be in the Kyle Centre if anybody wants to come and say hello. They also have lovely 2011 calendar for sale as well. So we'll have those on the day if anybody would like to support. As I say, they're a completely voluntary organisation. So we're doing our little bit to pay back for having received Bobby, to help them fundraise so other families can have an assistance dog as well as us.
Edel, it's a wonderful story. It's put a smile on my face, I can tell you today. So thanks so much for sharing it. The best to you and to Dermot and to Jack and to Bobby. Give Bobby a pat on the head.